Yeah, good afternoon to you. We start with some stunning news from the football fraternity. Former UEFA president Michel Platini has been detained as part of an investigation into alleged corruption relating to the decision to award Qatar the 2022 Soccer World Cup. Now, Platini is currently serving a 4-year ban from involvement in all football, reduced twice from an original 8-year sanction. This after he was found guilty of receiving a disloyal payment from then-FIFA president Sepp Blatter. Platini becomes a second prominent football administrator to be arrested this month after CAF president Ahmad Ahmad's arrest earlier this month in France. Well, I'm joined in studio here by sports analyst David Kekana, football expert. David, Michel Platini, could you ever in your life have imagined him going to prison?
Not really. A football hero, Ballon d'Or winner, 3 times Ballon d'Or winner, somebody that really epitomized what football is all about. A winner of the UEFA Europa Cup with France. It's somebody that we looked at him as the epitome of football. And what sports can do to somebody who's been a player, an administrator, and most certainly we thought of him as being the president of FIFA after Sepp Blatter, an heir apparent, I would say.
Heir apparent, he of course was groomed for many years by Sepp Blatter. What does this kind of arrest mean for Sepp Blatter? A lot of people are calling for sanctions against him of some sort.
Well, this one will probably elude Sepp, because Sepp initially wanted the USA to be the one to win the 2022 World Cup bid, and he had already thought that he had a gentleman agreement with Platini as far as that was concerned. This was changed by the French president Nicolas Sarkozy inviting Platini to a meeting with the Qatarians to say to them, hey, he's got to look in terms of the interest of France. From the meeting as outcome, which of course saw Platini changing his mind. Initially he decided that he was going to vote with Sepp Blatter to make sure that the USA gets the World Cup, but then changed his mind after that meeting with the head of the president of France.
Stunning developments, of course. What does it mean for the South African link? Someone like Danny Jordan, we know there's been lots of murmurs and rumours doing around about him not being able to travel for certain reasons. What does it mean for the likes of him?
Yeah, I mean, Danny has always maintained his innocence, but again, the shadow of the 2010 issues still follow him wherever he goes. And as far as this one is concerned, you'd think that out of the members, the 24 members FIFA committee, 16 of them have either been found guilty in some way or another, and of course he has been part of those that have not really been indicted as far as this Qatar situation is concerned. But it tells you about the dealings of FIFA, because Infantino coming into becoming FIFA had to do with a scandal, because Sepp Blatter was re-elected, remember, as FIFA president, and he had to step down because of the allegations that involved him and his involvement in corruption as far as FIFA is concerned, and the FIFA ethics committee banning him and Platini for 8 years, of which from now that has been reduced to 4 years as far as the ban is concerned for Platini.
Just to wrap up with Platini quickly, because I want a quick comment from Banyana before we go. But what's the future for Platini? And this, of course, is an isolated deal, but there should be more.
There should be more. Remember, with the 6 years been 10 now to 4 years, it meant that he could come back into football. Now post 2019, and now with these new allegations that involve Qatar, and you know, there's a lot of things that goes with that bid for Qatar. You know, that are problematic, and which, of course, he initially was said to be saying that. If there's any wrongdoing with the awarding of Qatar for the host of the 2022 World Cup, there should be a revote because of the size of Qatar. I mean, if you look at the countries that were there bidding with Qatar, the US, Japan, South Korea, Australia, those countries were favorites to win the 2022 World Cup bid. But it was given to tiny Qatar, which is a surprise.
I mean, we're talking about air-conditioned stadiums and water breaks and the likes coming this World Cup.
A lot, football had to give up a lot in terms of the timing of when the World Cup is held. Normally held between June and July. Now it has got to be moved because of the weather, and then we're talking of air-conditioned stadiums and all those kind of stuff. It's moved from just being a World Cup to a lot of other ripple effects, I would use that word.
In conclusion, quickly, let's wrap up with Banyana, because they've made the country very proud, of course, at the World Cup, got hammered by Germany. But does this mean now that we have to take a more serious look at the women's national football team here in South Africa, and maybe even invest a little bit more in especially girls' football in schools?
Yeah, I think we need to professionalize the women's football. I'm of the opinion that now they've shown that South Africa as a nation, in terms of qualifying for world-class events, Banyana is our best bet. And even the junior women's team, if you look in terms of their record of qualifying for World Cups, they far surpassed our expectation in terms of that. So for me, it shows that if we put in a little bit more money into Banyana and into women's football in general, we are going to get bigger returns than we are getting from Bafana and other men's sports. So it makes mathematic sense for us to invest more with women's football.
Fair to say then that they've overtaken Bafana in South African football and the hierarchy?
Most certainly. And when you look at that, you see that there's a few professional football players, as far as Banyana is concerned, that are playing overseas and are playing in big leagues. Across all the leagues. So it tells you that with a little bit more of investment, we could yield more positive results with women's football than we are currently yielding with men's game.
We certainly have a lot more women's players playing in the top leagues in Europe than we have certainly the male counterparts. David, thanks for joining us today and giving us an insight into what's happening with Michel Platini.